The last days of the life of Jesus Christ are not just historical events. This is the most tragic and at the same time the most life-saving week in the history of mankind. In 7 days, there will be a triumphal entry into Jerusalem, the betrayal of the disciple, the trial, the torture, and the crucifixion. Every day of this week has a deep meaning. Every event literally changed the course of history. Today we will follow minute by minute, hour by hour, the events of Holy Week, from palm trees and jubilation to the cross and darkness. This is a story about sacrifice, redemption, and resurrection. Let's look at the chronology of these epical events together. Sunday, March 28th, approximately 33 AD. As Jesus approaches Jerusalem, he gives his disciples an unusual task, to bring a donkey and a colt. This is not an accident. This is the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy from the book of Zechariah. Behold, your king is coming to you, just and saving, meek, sitting on a donkey. Jesus makes a messianic gesture by openly declaring his nature. The crowd greets him with delight. People tear off the branches of date palms, a symbol of victory and triumph, and scatter them in front of the animal. They shout, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." These are the words of prayer from Psalm 117. The city is literally going crazy with excitement. The Pharisees, seeing this, are enraged. They ask Jesus to order the crowd to be silent, but he responds, "If they stop talking, the stones will cry out." On the same day, Jesus enters the temple, inspects it, and returns to Bethany, a small village 2 kilometers from Jerusalem, where his close friends Lazarus, Mary, and Martha live. He will spend the night here all the days of Holy Week. The triumphal entrance lasted for several hours, but it was the beginning of the end. On Monday morning, Jesus returns to the temple full of the energy and anger of the righteous. He sees that there is a lot of trade in the courtyard of the temple. People are selling pigeons, sheep, oxen for sacrifices. Money changers sit at tables, exchanging pilgrims' money for sacred silver. At first glance, it seems necessary. People have to make sacrifices. But Jesus sees something else. The holy place has turned into a market, a place of prayer into a place of profit. Jesus becomes enraged. He knocks over the tables of the money changers, scattering their money. Pigeons fly into the air, sheep scatter. There is a scream and panic. Jesus shouts, "It is written, my house will be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers." This is an act of symbolic protest. Jesus is attacking not just merchants, but the very system of the Jewish hierarchy, which has turned faith into business and control. After this incident, Jesus teaches in the temple and the crowd listens to him. But the priests now know that he is dangerous. They start thinking about how to get rid of it. They can't kill him openly. People still love him. They need an excuse. They need help from the inside. Tuesday is a day of intense learning. Jesus spends the whole day in the temple answering questions and telling parables. The high priests and elders try to catch him in words, asking tricky questions. Is it right to give tribute to Caesar? Jesus gives a wise answer. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. He doesn't fall into their trap. But then Jesus turns to apocalyptic prophecies. His disciples point out to him the beauty of the temple. Look at the rocks and the buildings. The temple was indeed one of the wonders of the ancient world. It was built for 4.5 centuries. But Jesus answers in an icy voice, "Do you see all this? Truly, I tell you, not one stone will be left here on top of another. Everything will be destroyed." Later on the Mount of Olives, Jesus continues his prophecies. He talks about wars, famines, earthquakes, and the persecution of Christians. He's talking about the end of time and the last judgment. And the worst part is that he's talking about betrayal. "One of you will betray me." The students are shocked. They ask, "Is that me, Lord? Is that me?" One of them has already decided. Judas Iscariot, the treasurer, the man to whom Jesus had entrusted money and his heart, had already gone to the heads of the priests. "What will you give me," he asked, "if I betray him to you?" They offered 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. Judas agreed. Wednesday is a strange day. Almost nothing is told about her in the Gospels. Many church traditions refer to this day as the day of silence Jesus. He doesn't teach, he doesn't preach. He remains in Bethany, praying, preparing for what is to come. The students are also silent. A terrible shadow of betrayal hung over them. They don't understand the full picture yet, but they feel that something terrible is close. It's a waiting day, the day before the storm. Thursday evening, Easter holiday. Jesus gathers his 12 apostles for a Last Supper. They think it's an ordinary Easter meal, but it's going to be the most significant meal in history. Jesus performs the ritual of washing the feet of his disciples. This is the work of slaves, the most humiliating service. Peter is outraged. "You will never wash my feet." But Jesus insists, "If I, the Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, then you must also wash each other's feet." This is a lesson in humility and service. This is a pattern of behavior. Greatness is in humility. Then they eat the Easter lamb, and suddenly Jesus takes the bread, gives thanks for it, breaks it, and gives it to the disciples with the words, "This is my body which is given up for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Then he takes a cup of wine. "This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you." The meaning is clear. Jesus offers himself as a sacrifice. Bread and wine are symbols of his body and blood. It's not literal, it's a sacrament. This dinner will become the basis of Christian worship for all ages. But before that, Jesus announces his betrayal. He looks at Judas and says, "What are you doing? Do it quickly." Judas goes out into the night. From now on, he's on the enemy's side. After dinner, they sing psalms and go out to the Mount of Olives. They stop in the Garden of Gethsemane, the place where the ancient olives grow. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John with him. He asks them to stay awake while he prays. Jesus prostrates himself on the ground. He prays, "My Father, if possible, let this cup pass from me, but not as I will, but as you will." His prayer is so intense that drops of sweat fall like blood to the ground. The angel comforts him. 3 times he asks the students to stay awake. 3 times he finds them asleep. "Couldn't you have stayed awake with me for an hour?" Friday, night. Judas brings a legion of soldiers and elders, led by Malchus, the servant of the high priest. He kisses Jesus. This kiss is a signal. "Whoever I kiss is Jesus." They grab him. The students are panicking. Peter takes a sword and wounds Malchus's ear. But Jesus stops him. "Return your sword to its scabbard. Can I not ask my Father, and he will send me more than 12 legions of angels?" Jesus voluntarily goes to suffer. He is led to the high priest Caiaphas. The Sanhedrin, a Jewish court of 70 elders, gathers there. They're looking for evidence against him. False witnesses give contradictory testimony. But then the high priest asks Jesus directly, "Are you the Son of God?" Jesus answers, "You said it." That's enough. The court finds him guilty of blasphemy. The penalty for this is death. But the Jewish authorities have no right to execute. They can only recommend death. The decision should be made by Roman prefect Pontius Pilate. Pilate interrogates Jesus on Friday morning. "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answers, "You're saying that." Pilate finds no fault in him. "I don't find any fault in him," he tells the crowd. But the crowd, incited by the superiors of the priests, shouts, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate does not believe in justice. He's afraid of rebellion. He orders Jesus to be tortured. The soldiers make a crown of thorns, beat him with whips, mock him. Blood is flowing down his back. But Pilate is still doubtful. "Here's a man," he says, hoping that the sight of a tortured man will cause pity. But the crowd shouts even louder, "Crucify him!" At about 9 o'clock in the morning, they take Jesus to the place of execution, Golgotha, the place of the skull. They undress him and nail him to a cross. This is the most painful death that mankind has ever invented. A person can hang on a cross for hours, sometimes for days, before dying. Breathing is getting heavier, the pain is increasing, suffocation is coming. A plaque is nailed above him, "The King of the Jews." It's a mockery, but it's also the truth. 2 robbers are being crucified with him. People mock him. The heads of the priests shout, "He saved others, but he can't save himself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." But Jesus remains silent. He endures. At noon, a strange phenomenon occurs. Darkness covers the entire earth for up to 3 hours. This is not an eclipse. Easter falls on a full moon, when solar eclipses are impossible. This is a supernatural phenomenon. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jesus cries out in a loud voice, my God, why did you leave me?" This is the beginning of the 22nd Psalm, full of prophecies about the crucifixion. Jesus quotes it so that the disciples understand that all this was foretold. Then he says, "I'm thirsty." They give him a sponge soaked in cheap wine, which eases his suffering. And then the final words, "It's done," or "It's done." In Greek, tetelestai. This word means the completion of a debt, the fulfillment of an obligation. Jesus says his work is finished, and he's dying. At the moment of his death, another miracle occurs. The veil of the temple that divided the sanctuary is torn in two. The earth is shaking. The rocks of the crevasse, the tombs are opening. Even the Roman centurion standing at the cross says, "Truly, he was the Son of God." Pilate's secret disciple, Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the Sanhedrin, is asking for the body of Jesus. They put him in a new coffin cut out of the rock. The stone is rolled to the entrance. Mary Magdalene and other women are sitting nearby watching. Saturday, a day of complete silence. The students are scattered. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Judas hanged himself on a rope. The rest are hiding, locked in the house. Mary Magdalene and other women are grieving. This is the darkest day. Everything seemed lost. The Messiah is dead. My worst fears have come true. But this is not the end. This is the pause before the resurrection. This is the Sabbath of expectation, the Sabbath of silence, the Sabbath of faith. Early Sunday morning, women come to the tomb with incense to anoint the body of Jesus, a Jewish custom. But when they come up, the stone has already been rolled away. The coffin is empty. An angel in white robes tells them, "Don't be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus crucified. He is not here. He has risen, as he said." Jesus is risen. This is the central event of the Christian faith. Death had no power over him. He rose from the dead on the 3rd day, fulfilling the scriptures. In the 40 days following his resurrection, Jesus will appear to his disciples several times, strengthening their faith. And then, on the day of Pentecost, he will send the Holy Spirit, and his teaching will spread throughout the world. Holy Week is not just about historical events. This is the day when God entered human history, endured human suffering and death in order to give us salvation and hope. From triumph to collapse, from despair to resurrection, this is the path not only of Jesus but also of every believer. This week has changed the world, and it can change your life too.